I was the one that told Trevor this years ago. I was the one that introduced him to that concept that your mess is your message. Yeah, exactly. Was the first person I heard say that. I was like, fuck, I don't want to be talking about this. I'm a chiropractor. The last thing I want to be talking about is fucking domestic violence. That's not what I went out to be. I don't want that to be my message. And that really isn't my message. The message is, how do I shift my reactivity so that the identity that I'm reacting from isn't that little boy? It's actually a man who's deep in his masculine, who is got his heart, his spine, and his balls online. That's really my message. So how do you do that? Well, I got my little thing here, is becoming trigger proof, has 5 pillars that I had to go through in order to get to where I am. And so the first one here is nervous system regulation. I realized that at the time I was operating completely amped up, constantly in a state of sympathetic activation. And I use this in my trainings to symbolize it. The sympathetic nervous system is the fight or flight aspect of your nervous system. It's, as a child, when you were dealt with the challenges, you had to fight or run in order to survive, okay? When you go through stress, when you experience attachment distress or conflicts, you have 4 trauma responses: fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, okay? Now I'm gonna write this out this way. Flight. This is the sympathetic nervous system, okay? Now, it helped you survive in childhood, but in adult relationships, our mechanisms that help us survive in childhood destroy intimate partnerships, right? So, for example, Shar, you know, the dynamic she had with her family system, she's a fighter, right, Trevor? She's definitely not a freezer or a fawner. She's a fighter. Now, the fighter in her helped her survive childhood. It worked, but that aspect will be damaging in a intimate partnership. This is when your sympathetic nervous system dominant. And once we learn how to mitigate that and bring that nervous system down from activation down to safety, you then react far differently. You respond rather than react. You feel safer in your body. You sleep better. All the things, right? So that's why the exercise is super important, because this is a part of a nervous system regulation. So the physical activity and exercise and the meditations and neurosensory activity to bring your kind of like safety into the body. That's the first step. Then we also have freeze, okay? And this is a dorsal vagal. So this is the vagus nerve, cranial nerve 10, dorsal vagal response, okay? And freeze and fawn. Freezing is when you're hiding. Does anyone have this as a predominant mechanism? When you get activated in distress, this is when you just go into a freeze. You just get quiet. This is when you're dating and then you ghost. You just don't say anything, you hide, right? The freeze response is what happens when it's not safe to fight and it's not safe to run away. Think of a gazelle being hunted by a lion. They just kind of like play dead, right? It's a form of kind of having our predator feel like we're not a threat, so it calms the predator down and protects our safety. The freeze response is a protective mechanism from childhood, so because when our parents or our caregivers, where the threat was too big, it was life-threatening, and running away would have been dangerous and fighting back would have been dangerous. So just playing dead is safe. So this is a mechanism in our relational dynamics during childhood that protected us, but in relationships, it completely fucks up our relationship.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed that video, I think you'll enjoy this one as well. And while you're at it, please subscribe to our channel. We'd really appreciate it.